The classic waiting time. Okay, cool. So every day, every time I come online, I ask you guys to drop me a thumbs up if you can hear me. But today, for a change, let us drop a high five emoji if you can hear me. Drop a high five emoji if you can hear me, guys, because every time I come online, I'm like, drop a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hey guys, how are you all doing? I hope all of you are doing well. How is the weather? How is everything else? All right. So as we all know, Menstrual Hygiene Week is going on, and we are extensively talking all about periods and menstrual hygiene. Before I begin the session today, I would like to acknowledge and thank and give a shout out to Infano Care for collaborating with the Logical Indian for the Menstrual Hygiene Week. Alright, so our guest for the day is Dr. Manisha Singh, but before that, I'm just going to read out her qualifications in a rap, because it's like so much. Not exactly in a rap, but I'll try to do it in one go. So tell me if I did it well. Alright, so Dr. Manisha Singh is a senior consultant gynecologist and subspecialist in reproductive medicine and surgery. More. Head of Department for Infertility, Gynae Minimal Access Surgery at Fortis Hospital, Bangalore. That is more. 28 years as gynecologist with dual accreditation from both the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, United Kingdom, and Mumbai University. Alright, so on that note, I would like to invite Dr. Singh to join us for this conversation. Okay. She's going to be here in no time. If you have any questions related to menstruation, related to, period hygiene, please do drop comments.
Hi
Dr.
there.
Singh, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for having me over today. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
so much for joining the Logical Indian today.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes, ma'am. So, Menstrual Hygiene Week is going on. Of course, we're talking all about periods. But, even today, it's the year 2020. And, it's not even a surprise that even now people do believe in myths and they do believe in taboos. And I think the only way to tackle these kinds of myths that, don't touch the achar when you are on your periods. And I think all of these things can only be combated with science. Ma'am, what do you have to say? How do you, what do you say on the science front? How do you deal with such people who still believe in such taboos and such, practices?
Okay, first of all, hello to everyone who's logging in and joining us. It's great that we have come together for a very important discussion today. Let's put it this way. Because of this pandemic, we are doing social distancing, we are wearing masks, we aren't shaking hands, we are saying namaste. Why are we doing that? It's to prevent infection, isn't it? So many thousand years ago, I think there was a clear scientific understanding that when a woman is on a period, she can get quite debilitated with the pain and the continuous bleeding and having to change the cloth and wash the cloth and what have you. So it was said that women need to sit out for 5 days. And that was just so that they have enough rest and they get a breather from doing the household chores. And they can look after themselves, their personal hygiene, they can clean their cloth. You see, sanitary napkins and tampons are new things. They didn't exist thousands of years ago. But the physiological phenomenon of period was even existing then. So this was all an effort to help a woman rest and do the things that she needs to do to maintain her dignity, at the same time have personal hygiene and reduce her risk of infection, right? So as it goes in Chinese whispers, what A says to B and B says to C, what Z hears about what A said can be 1 plus 2 plus 5. It can be anything. So similarly, as this, belief, this cultural thing that we have, got percolated down the generations, people started calling it a taboo when actually it wasn't a taboo, It was just time given to a woman to deal with her physiological phenomenon month on month. That's what it is. So it's not about, if you touch achar, it'll get spoiled, or, you do this and something will happen. No. But think about it this way. We're talking about hygiene. If a woman does not maintain her menstrual hygiene at this point in time, and she goes and touches food items or other things, blood is a perfect culture medium where bugs can grow lavishly. Now imagine a woman spreading infection to all the household members. If she isn't clean herself, then that is a definite risk to the people living in the house, right? So, not per se a taboo, but it's an infection control mechanism. That's all that it is.
Yeah, but then I think, ma'am, also that time has changed, and now, and maybe like thousands and thousands of years ago, maybe this was just a way to tell women to take rest, or not to participate in like household chores, to maybe save herself and other people from infection. But now times have changed. It's 21st century. Women do go out for work, and
Yes,
they are
yes,
still doing all of the things. Yeah, so
correct. Which
even
is why
now,
we
yeah,
need to discuss menstrual hygiene. So, we are in a different era.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now, how do you, but I think for, of course, for, women who are hailing from urban areas or from cities, they still do have some amount of, but I would still say that is still a fractional a percentage of women who are able to maintain their menstrual hygiene. But I think this
Yes.
is also a lot about privilege, even in far-flung areas, or even in cities, people who are not that privileged or aware of how to take care of hygiene when menstruating. How do you, what is your understanding of
So,
menstrual hygiene? How it can be done in the simplest way possible?
So in 2020, first of all, we need to, kind of break the silence in its totality about discussing about periods. Okay. There are still many women that come to my clinic, and their husbands may not even come into the room when we are talking about period issues. They prefer to wait outside. Now, I say this to everyone, boys and girls, that everyone must understand this physiological phenomenon. So, first is to raise awareness, okay? And that must start from school, because a girl starts menstruating at the age of 11, 12, when she's in year 7 or year 8 of school, right? So, having regular educational sessions or videos that have been made by many NGOs across the world, to educate girls about periods and things that they can use, the sanitary aids available to them. And, once there is awareness, then to provide every girl the dignity to have a facility where she can safely go and change every so many hours, and teaching girls how to dispose of all of these things, that is extremely important, right? Now, let's take a common thing. In the good old days, and even today, I have patients that are using a cotton cloth, you know, for the bleeding period, right? And in fact, in Karnataka, in the rural areas, they have something called the date batte. Batte means a cloth, basically, and date means the
Yeah.
period date. So they have this designated cotton cloth that is provided to them that they can access. In the rural areas, the good thing is that the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare provides all the village women with a pack of 6 sanitary towels. It's just for 6 rupees, and the ASHA worker has to go and distribute it to every single girl that is there in the village. Now, the important thing is, if you're using a cloth, what needs to be taught to the girl is how do you use the cloth, how often do you change the cloth, how do you wash this cloth, how do you dry this cloth, and how do you preserve it until the next period starts, right? The same goes for a sanitary pad as well. And that is something that is used most commonly. In the urban areas also, sanitary napkins are very commonly used. It's not that everyone is using a tampon or something like that, sanitary towels. And then there are biodegradable sanitary napkins as well, which are supposed to cause you less toxicity, because they have dioxin, these, that, all of those things. So sanitary towels, that you need to change the sanitary napkin every 3 to 4 hours, and even more frequently if you're bleeding heavy, right? That is important, because if you do not change it, once again, the same problem, that too much blood accumulation can cause soreness, rash in the perineal area, right? Now, the vaginal, let's go back to physiology. The vaginal pH is a little bit acidic, okay? And it allows for the growth of both good bugs and bad bugs, right? But when you get a period, blood makes the pH slightly alkaline. It takes the pH up. And this allows for bad bugs to grow quite floridly, right? And therefore, you can be predisposed to infection. Now, if a girl doesn't change her pad every 3 to 4 hours, she is likely to develop vaginal infections, urinary infections, vaginal discharge. And then, if you don't manage that, you can have a fulminant pelvic infection, which is quite bad news. It can cause infertility and so on and so forth. Therefore, changing sanitary towels ever so often, changing your tampon ever so often is also important. I have seen girls who have forgotten their tampons in the vagina and develop toxic shock syndrome, which is real bad news. Okay? So, this is what you do, whether you are a school teacher, whether you are in college, whether you are at workplace, or whether you see a gynecologist. This is the information that needs to come out. And then what you guys are doing today, by promoting menstrual hygiene today via the web, I think is an excellent initiative, so that people can sit in the comfort of their house and learn about basic steps of hygiene, right at home.
Absolutely. But ma'am, I also would like to talk a little bit about the stigma, because it is what I think is very much related to the hygiene as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
what happens is sometimes women do use cloth napkins, and they tend to repeatedly use it every monthly cycle. And then because of the stigma, because of the shame, they tend to, dry it at a damp place, maybe some dark place where there is no sunlight. So
Which
how
is,
does how do yeah.
sorry, yeah, go on.
No, I was just wanting to talk about this, because this is not just with rural women. A lot of urban women also do face the same issue. Even
Yeah.
in cities, there are stigmas, among family members, that there is a male family member, so I just can't, dry my sanitary cloth, upstairs in the sun.
Which is why you must resort to eco-friendly options such as the menstrual cup. Okay? It is cheap. It doesn't cost you a fortune. It is reusable, and this headache of having to wash, to dry, hide it from people will not exist. Okay? And
That's true.
yes, and it's eco-friendly, most importantly. Now look at it, in the lockdown, all the shops were closed, right? And if people needed a sanitary towel, where would they go? So it's better to use a menstrual cup, which is a very straightforward device, a funnel-shaped device, which is like that, and it snugly fits in the vagina. Okay? And it can be washed, it can be dried, and it can be reused. It's very, very simple.
Yes. That's absolutely right. But I think that, at the same time, while menstrual cup is what I've heard from friends and from colleagues and from everyone, that it's a boon if you come to like really realize how well it works. But I think still it cannot be an alternative for, not being aware and not being sensitized about periods, even among men, I guess.
Correct.
So that being one thing, ma'am. The other thing is, it's it's a lot. I mean, a lot of periods do. It's different for different girls, right? I mean, one person can have cramps, the other person may not feel anything on periods, and it really depends. So there's a lot of debate about menstrual leaves, and should it be a part of sick leave? Should it not be a part of sick leave? How does this whole landscape work. So what are your thoughts about it, ma'am?
Now, see, I mean, getting pain during your menses on the first day or so is quite common, okay? And more so in young girls and in women who've not had babies, okay? But menstrual pain can be extremely severe in, girls who have got endometriosis, who've got adenomyosis. These are gynae conditions that women have in their uterus and in their pelvis that can cause them debilitating pain. And it's like a sharp knife stabbed in your tummy 24/7, those 4 or 5 days.
Thanks for saying that.
And the first thing I say to everybody is if you see your daughter, your sister, or someone going through that kind of pain where she's doubled up, go and see a gynecologist. Don't tell her to take a tablet and sit at home. That's the wrong thing to do. Try and get a diagnosis. And I have seen very young girls, as young as 16, come with very severe endometriosis. And it's unfair that a 16-year-old must have it, but that's the harsh reality of life, right? So if somebody is doing that, get them to come and see a gynecologist without feeling embarrassed about it, without having to get her to pop pills, number one. And if she has that kind of pain, please show empathy. Please, if she needs to take leave, do not stigmatize her, do not ostracize her for having taken leave. Be kind, be empathetic, because it's very, very genuine. Okay? So if someone needs to kind of take leave, yes, there are options now. You can work from home. At the time when you feel comfortable, when your tablets have worked, when you think you're okay to log in, do work. And a lot of IT people are now sitting at home and doing comfortable work from home, right? So why not allow a woman to do that if she wants to do that? Say she doesn't want to work for a day or two, that's also perfectly acceptable. But if you can work, please go out and work. Because everyone wants gender equality also. Then you want selective leave also. It doesn't work both ways, right? A little pain during periods is normal. So if you can take some tablets, painkillers, and go to work, please go and work. But if there is genuinely a problem, then yes, you should be allowed to take leave. There should not be a stigma for that.
So maybe there could be like an optional leave, like, you can take it if you
Absolutely,
want.
absolutely. Yes, there should be a provision that there is optional leave. There are many women I know that have worked through the pain. They've put up a brave face, a smile, and they have gone to work. And I salute those women who do it, day after day, month after month. But if there is a genuine need, then, I think people at office, at college must understand that there is a definite need for this girl to take leave. Yes.
Absolutely. Otherwise, if it is like a mandatory leave, like, you can just go ahead and take 3 months, 3 days off in a month, maybe then, they could be ostracized by saying that, don't join the forces while, because you may get your periods, or don't join the army, or
I don't
don't
think you
join
can
police
discriminate
service.
because someone gets a period or because someone is pregnant. I don't think
Absolutely.
it no longer works, today, thankfully. So I think there are very strict regulations and people cannot be violating them and saying, I cannot employ you, I can't give you a job on that basis. I think that's completely wrong.
Okay. So, ma'am, just to wrap this up, there was this one question that that I wanted to ask, which is, do you think that, mental health can be affected, not necessarily by the period or menstrual cycle itself, but because of the stigma that is around it?
Yes, if see, most girls get talked to about periods by their mothers in India, right? But still, you have many unanswered questions. Thankfully, today there is awareness across the board from the government, from a lot of NGOs who are working extremely hard to take that taboo away. So, all I would like to say to girls is if you have unanswered questions, please feel free to ask a person who you feel comfortable asking to. Don't feel shy, don't feel embarrassed, don't keep it inside you because your problem could well be someone else's problem as well. And if people care, they will share the correct information with you. And I think that is extremely important, that opening up, asking the right questions and getting the right answers and not going into a spiral of depression. It's totally uncalled for because this is a physiological phenomenon. You've got to live with it. So you might as well rise up to the challenge. Uh, you know, keep your dignity high. And I don't think you should be stigmatized or ostracized for this. No.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, before we end this, what is your message to our viewers this menstrual hygiene week?
All I'm going to say is good hygiene is important in this COVID time, in the Corona times. You are all doing it, and this will go a long way to boost your immunity. Make sure that you're doing your very best in terms of social distancing and washing, infection control, and eating healthy food because whether it is periods or otherwise, I think health is wealth and good diet, nutrition, exercise, adequate water intake go a very long way. Not just talking about periods, but generally as well.
But what about, girls who just feel like junking when they're on their periods? Like, give me more chocolates and more chips and more
Oh, it
like
does happen.
outside food.
It's normal. It's normal. You can crave for things. You can crave for things when you have a period. You can crave for things when you have pregnancy. It's perfectly acceptable. Don't feel embarrassed about it. If you do that for 5 days, the remaining 25 days, you can work it out, isn't it? If you do 45 minutes
Absolutely.
of exercise every day, I'm sure you can shed those pounds you gained in the 5 days, right? So
Absolutely.
it's acceptable to do that. You can binge on whatever you want those 5 days. You are excused.
Thank you for saying that again. I'm going to take this, like, I am going to always tell people that Dr. Manisha has given me permission to eat
I
as
know
much
only
as
for
I
five
want.
days, but 25 days I expect you to behave.
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
because
absolutely, ma'am.
discipline in life is very important, and only if you are disciplined and you do it right day after day after day can you achieve perfection in what you do.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This was a lovely conversation, really. Thank you so much for joining the Logical Indian today.
Thank you very much for having me, and I wish everyone lots of health, and stay safe, stay healthy always, and God bless you.
God bless you too, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are you able to see the? Okay, cool. All right, guys. So that was Dr. Manisha. I think this was a lovely conversation. So she has given all of us a permission to binge on those 5 days of periods, but other 25 days, please behave. All right. So before I end this, once again, a huge shout out to Inferno Care for this lovely conversation and all other conversations that we have had and we are going to have for the Menstrual Hygiene Week. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining the Logical Indian. See you next time. Until then, stay tuned and stay logical. Bye.